There's more to it, man. There's the ownership. There's January. We've been let down. Of course we have.
Hey, Dan, I'll tell you this. I'll take this cursed season if it means we do the treble next season.
Egal, you've been saying that for a long time, my bro. I hope you're right one day. Look, let me come to Kenny and DJ on it because I'm for probably one of the only times gonna actually agree with the fans that say that the Gabriel injury might not be solely on Mikel Arteta. Hear me out. I can't give it the same for Havertz. I definitely don't give it the same for Saka. But Gabriel had already had a break. He had his international break. He didn't go away with Brazil. He ended up just saying, yeah, I'm back. So he had his rest. Now, I appreciate that it might be that he's played him quite a lot, and he has played him quite a lot, Mikel Arteta. But Kenny, is it fair to say that this one might be a little bit more unlucky? Because the fact that he has gone down, I think if people would have said, yeah, we're playing Kivior against Fulham, I know a few fans that would have threw the toys out of the pram and said, why the hell's that? So I think we have to remain balanced on this one, if I'm honest with you. I do think that he has absolutely slogged a lot of our players. Gabriel and Saliba and Timber, in my opinion, have played an unbelievable amount of games. And we have not had the summer or the January transfer windows to back up in terms of our defence. We've literally got two centre-backs that everyone likes. No one else likes anyone else playing there. But he has had a few days off, Gabriel. He has had a bit of a rest period, and his hamstring's gone. Is that solely Mikel Arteta, or is there more to it, bruv?
No, look. So something bigger happened than whether it's Arteta's fault or not. We're going to lose our best defender for the biggest game of the season. I think that's bigger than making it all about Mikel. I know Egal. I saw a little trick.
He's our best defender now.
I've always said that, though.
No, you wanted to replace him.
No. Egal, don't play games. You've been on.
You wanted to replace him with Calafiori.
Me and you have been on podcasts regularly, and I've said
you wanted to replace him with
Calafiori. He's our best performing defender. Yeah, I did call him Bozo. For the last 2 years, he's been our best performing defender. So you made it about Mikel and trying to say, oh yeah, the rat army hate Arteta, we're all negative. Something bigger happened. Our best defender, someone who's key to our tactical plan, is going to be playing next week. And I was more gutted about that. I wasn't even thinking about Mikel. If you want to talk about my views on the other injuries, damn right I'm holding Mikel responsible on the basis that he knew about this season. He knew about the intensity of the Champions League. He knew we were playing every 2 or 3 days. Now, people say, oh yeah, how is it the Saka and Havertz, the injuries are getting blamed on Arteta? Well, he didn't have to play him against Preston away. Did have to play him in the Carabao Cup when we were winning these games, when they'll give me. He choose to play him. That's his objective. However, when you've got the Champions League, where it's not the group stage, where it's all about arse protection, and basically if you're a top team, you're going to get at least second place and get in the last 16. This is a league stage where there was something in every game. We're playing every 2 or 3 days. He was unable to negotiate that. And that's why we look at the Saka injury. We've always been saying he needs a rest, try and rotate him. Don't put too much pressure on him. He's been flogged for England. That was bound to happen. Havertz is another one. But in terms of the Gabriel one, I was just gutted. As soon as I saw him go down, I went, shit. And then Timber as well, I thought, oh, shit. Because I could just picture them against Madrid, against Madrid and the counter-attack. I thought, Jesus Christ, that's basically a tactical plan gone out the window.
Ruined the rest of the game for me, man.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And then you look at the situation that leads into temptation of playing Partey at right back, because with Benjamin White, being doubtful or not, he probably might not trust him. We're going to see probably Partey. And then
if you put Partey at right back against Madrid, we'll get battered.
Vinny Jr.
You say that if Benjamin White, is doubtful, doesn't make the game, who plays at right back?
I think Timber will be all right.
I hope so. I really hope so.
He went down early on. I thought he should have just taken him off straight away.
So did I.
He went down first time. I thought just take him off. He didn't. He played to what, 75?
Crazy.
And then he went down again, and then he came off. He looked all right though. He was walking all right.
I hope so. Well, you know what? Everyone's talking about Real Madrid. There's Everton as well. This is where he's got to, put his thinking cap on and and look at the situation. Look, are we going to get the top 4 next season? Yeah. Is second place probably nailed down? Yeah, probably. He's going to have to make sacrifices for the Everton game.
He's been doing that all season. He's been doing that all season, Ken.
Doing what?
He's been problem solving all season.
We're not talking about his problem solving. We're talking about the Everton game and whether he's going to make sacrifices.
That's what he's going to have to do in the Everton game, Ken. He's been problem solving with the left back situation. He found a solution at the end of the day with Miles Lewis-Skelly. He's been problem solving in the midfield, and he ended up finding solutions while Martin Odegaard was out for a couple of those games. He's been problem solving with the striker situation. Mikel Moreno has more goals than all of our forwards, pretty much, except for Saka and Kai Havertz at this point. And he has a better goal return than some strikers that Manchester United, at Liverpool, at all these other clubs. And you know what? Fair play. Arteta has found a lot of solutions. But one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to sit here and say Arteta's to blame for injuries when you guys are mentioning playing players in the Preston game. Well, did they get injured in the Preston game? Or
no, Egal, you're missing the point. Egal, let me finish.
The main point is,
it was my turn. You interrupted my turn. Wait, my turn. You get your turn.
I'm not mistaken. Were we not having a group discussion?
No.
We are. One at a time. Go on, Kenny. Finish your point, then Egal come in.
I want to answer that point. The reason why I interrupted you this time is that I never once said that they got injured in the game. I was saying overplaying and overexertion, especially when you got playing these games of these intensity, is highly likely you're going to have injuries because these weren't broken legs or impact injuries. These were muscular injuries. And muscular injuries, 9 out of 10 are caused by bad luck or overexertion. And I was saying that Mikel Arteta struggled to deal with the extra intensity of the games and struggled to deal with the games coming thick and fast. Now, that's a fact because at the end of the day, look how it's resulted. Now, you may disagree. I never once said that these guys got injured when they played against Preston and then the Crystal Palace and the League Cup. I was saying these guys needed rest. And because at the end of the day, it's highly likely if you don't get rested, you keep on flogging the same horse, eventually something's going to happen. These are muscular injuries. They're not impact injuries. They're not injuries due to two-footed tackles. Or these are injuries down to overexertion. That's all I'm saying.
I will say that we have also been told that he doesn't take the cup serious. And the same people who say he doesn't take the cup serious have asked for the likes of Bukayo Saka and these other players to be at least available on the bench in the case that we need a win and we need to secure a win. So I don't mind him bringing them on to secure a win. I don't mind them playing in these games. What I think is, yes, he's had to overplay players, but it's down to the personnel available. Would you rather Bukayo Saka played first Crystal Palace in that game, or we rotated and we potentially drop points and maybe then even fall further behind in the title race at that point? Now, I get it. Hindsight's 2020, and everyone wants to say, oh, maybe you should have given some players more rest here, some players more rest there. But I really don't think it comes down to the management. I just think it was a freak injury, and the accumulation of injuries happen because it's a pecking order. Once you're down to 4 options in attack, and you start having less and less bodies, you're gonna start playing players more minutes. And it's not a coincidence that once you're down to 4 attacking players out of 6, you're gonna then start seeing them go down also, because now they're obviously gonna be overexerted. I don't think he had an option, really and truly. Who's he gonna play? Was he gonna throw in an academy kid out of nowhere? Was he gonna throw somebody else in? We're in a goddamn title race at that point. I don't blame Mikel Arteta for the injuries. I don't think you can fault him for somebody having those issues. If you want to say he could have done better managing issues throughout the season, I think he did his best that he could. And at this point, we were just hit with unfortunate injuries one after another, and it was accumulation of the attacking players going down one after another because of the pressure being put on the remaining attacking players. We've seen this at Liverpool. We've seen this at Man City. When you have great players going down, the rest of the players are going to be wear thin because they have to cover up and do more of the work. Jesus going down was the first thing that led to Havertz having to play more minutes and all these other guys having to play more minutes. And Raheem Sterling also was down. So whenever we couldn't rotate as much in the attacking third. before he went down. And it was not a coincidence that we were starting to get some good form when those guys were all back. But as soon as Jesus went down and Saka went down, it was domino effect. I don't think you can blame Arteta for those injuries because, hey, Jesus isn't even a muscular injury, to be fair.
Let me ask DJ this. DJ, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going back to the summer and the January transfer windows. We can blame injuries as much as we want on Arteta. We can blame injuries on players. But I think this summer transfer window in January has been the biggest letdown for a whole of our season. And I think injuries are included within that, bro, because he hasn't trusted the backup, or the backup isn't good enough, or a bit of both, mate.
I think what it boils down to, Dan, and I've been watching streams all year, and I've been on streams all year, and we talk about injuries, we talk about red cards, who's to blame, who's not to blame. The point of the fact is when we had that summer window, the club should have strengthened in the right areas, knowing that you cannot go through any football season without suspensions and injuries. And we should have been ready for that. We should have had adequate cover for these positions. So let me go back to the Gabriel injury. I don't particularly blame Arteta for the Gabriel injury per se. However, I do blame him for the cover we have for Gabriel, and that's Kivior. His player, he bought him, not good enough for this team. Not going to be good enough to face Real Madrid in that position.
Isn't that why it's not Calafiori though?
So these are the players. Well, Calafiori's bought as a centre half, and I believe he's been playing him at left back. He could slot him in at centre half, but he's not really played there, has he? He's not really had a long period.
Calafiori would have come on yesterday at left centre back.
He's played there for Italy, but he hasn't really played there for Arsenal in a big game.
Because Gabriel's been there. That's the reason.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm trying to say is he bought in, he buys players like Kivior as backup to Gabriel. Then he buys Calafiori and plays him at left back. So this is where I'm trying to allude to. What I'm trying to allude to is that you have to then build a squad when you finish runners up in a title race 2 years running. You've got to build a squad to cover all the bases and all the permutations that could happen during the season. And the club hasn't done that. So, and then, you got the other side of the coin where, okay, it's not his fault that I'll say it again, it's not his fault that Gabriel's got injured. However, you can, it's things like against the PSV game. We're 7-1 up in the first leg. I think we was 9-2, 9-3 up in the second leg, and Gabriel's playing 90-odd minutes. Did he need to play 90-odd minutes in that game? Not really. He could have tried something different. So these are the questions that the manager had. These are the reasons why people ask the questions, and there's nothing wrong with asking the questions. These questions have to be asked. Why did he play 90-odd minutes against PSV?